welcome to another Friday Fun edition of Second City Sports. We're live in the living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago, along with Miss Lakina McGee, which is she. I am Sydney Brown. Hey, that's me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, it's CK80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keena McGee on the Twitter and at Keena McGee on the IG.
Make sure you download the Sports Zone Chicago app wherever you get your apps. You want to know why? Because we said so, that's why. And also, so you can catch up on our other live shows that we have airing throughout the week. So you happen to miss them, you can go back and watch them and listen to them at your own leisure. Please download that Sports Zone Chicago app today. Speaking of Sports Zone Chicago, please follow us on all social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Please find Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms. And speaking of our podcast, Second City Sports, I know you've been loving it, you've been supporting it, and please continue to do so. For those of you that haven't not jumped on board, please jump on board. You can subscribe to our podcast by subscribing to War on Anchor. We are available on all podcast platforms, including the iHeartRadio app. Make sure you type this in your search engine boxes on those podcast platforms. You ready? WARR on Anchor. Once again, at War on Anchor. And while you're at it, please give War Media a follow on all social media platforms at WARR Media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Once again, that's at War Media, WARR Media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And thank you very much in advance for your support.
Like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends.
We are unapologetically fun, and we have very definite opinions. If you have any definite opinions during our 2-hour extravaganza, we call it Sports Talk Radio Show. You can always hit us up in the comment section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or at Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. But if you decide to troll and or do something silly or stupid, I've given Lakina full power to give you fools to be a man, be a boot.
Bye-bye.
I won't know what she says that. But before we begin, we must remind you that you can catch Sports Zone Chicago now available on Roku TV. That's right. So celebrate the squad and get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now available on Roku TV. If you already have a Roku television, just tap on that sports folder and download Sports Zone Chicago's app through that avenue. If you don't have a Roku TV, you have a bunch of handheld devices roaming around: iPhone, iPad, iTouch, your personal PC like Lakina's using right now, like a Chromebook like I'm using right now. Just go to the Apple, to the Google Play Store, download the Roku TV app, and access Sports Zone Chicago that way. So no more excuses. Celebrate with the squad and get with the program. Sports Zone Chicago is now available on Roku TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Live and on demand.
Let's celebrate, everybody. I know the weather's been a little bit weird in some parts of the country, so if you're watching or listening to us for the first time, welcome. Don't be strangers. Mm-hmm. And we got a lot to do today, Sid, because we're going to talk about we got March Madness, of course. You got conference tournaments going on as the big schools are now coming at it. Of course, the Bulls get an interesting win against the Nuggets and other NBA stuff over the weekend.
Is that true? Yeah. That actually happened?
Yes, it did. And also to
okay.
and also to the NFL. Of course, all the weird things that's been happening there. We got a lot to do there. So, but first, we're going to talk some March Madness. Of course, all the various conferences are going on as we speak. Rutgers and Purdue are tied at 36. They're in the first time out of the second half. That's in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. You got the SEC tournament going on, quarterfinals going on right now as we speak. The number one seed in that tournament, Alabama, they are up 15-8 over Mississippi State. Mississippi State, they're on the bubble, so they probably need a win here to pull upset here to kind of get themselves into the big dance. So, Sid, I know Illinois lost a tough one yesterday in the second round of the tournament, losing to the Rutgers squad that's playing right now against Purdue.
Penn State.
Oh, Penn State, I should say. But Penn State. Look, Penn State. They've had their number all year, so they won both their meetings. So that's unfortunately. But look, this Illinois team can only go one of two ways. They can either go all the way to the Sweet 16, or they could end up losing the first round. There's really no in between for this team at this point. But a lot of the inconsistencies and such. Penn State made the big plays. Late. Coming in. So they played like a team that was fighting for their tourney spot. And Brandon Wood, apparently, they started by Sean Davis. Apparently, he had a little bit of I don't want to say a rant, but I guess, a little bit of I don't know if you want to say like a little bit of a tiff after the game in the presser. So So what do you think about all that transpired yesterday here over in Chicago at the UC?
You just put those observations into perfect words, Lakina. Here's the thing about Illinois. We said this all year about this squad. They're a heavy favorite 3-point shooting team. They shot 28.5% from 3-point range yesterday. Of course, when they shoot hot from there, they usually win the majority of their games. When they don't shoot it, they look like a different team. Matthew Meyer he struggled yesterday, only scoring 7 points, only 0 for 5 from 3-point range. That's not going to get it done. Coleman Hawkins and Dane Danger, both of them actually had good games yesterday, so you cannot put the blame on those two. I want to put the blame a little bit on Terrence Shannon, even though he did have 19 points. I thought he should have been a little bit more aggressive, but he did all he could. Ty Rogers, who's been dependable coming off the bench for the Atlanta, he only had 2 points yesterday. Luke Good, who's been on the squad the last couple of years, he came in late and delivered 8 quick points, but you really didn't get any contributions from your bench. Matthew Myers struggled from the field yesterday, especially for 3-point range. And RJ Melendez, you thought he was going to give you a little bit more. He only had 4 points. So Illinois tried, but trying is not good enough, especially at this time of year. Like you said, give Penn State credit. They executed better down the stretch.
Danny, you definitely got to give him a little bit more credit there because it would have that place would have been rocking the UC had they had won because they had to play Northwestern later on. That's when Penn State's going to be playing later on in like a couple hours from now. So yeah, look, I mean, look, Penn State made the big stops. I mean, like I said, they've won both meets against the Illini this year. Andrew Funk led the way with 20 points for Penn State, I should say. So look, I think Penn State's already in. I think a lot of sort of like the bracketologists, I guess, they got him as among the last 4, and I should say. So they could be playing in one of the first 4 tournaments. We'll see. We'll find out on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, look, Shannon Jr. had 19 points, but he definitely picked it up in the second half, but he wasn't a factor in that first half. So for me, I think this is sort of like kind of like a thing with this has been a thing with Illinois all year long. Some guys step up, some guys have off nights. The shooting hasn't been very, wasn't, inconsistent. They were 6 for 21 for 3-point range. If you're trying to go far in March, that's not going to work for you. So basically what you're dealing with here is like an Illinois team that the same team that we've been at the last 2 years. Yes, they have 20 wins, and they should have they could have had a better showing in that tournament, but it is what it is.
And also, too, let's be honest here. A few of their stars I'm talking about, Illinois, have been struggling with foul trouble all year long. That's what cost them some games, especially down the stretch here these last 3 weeks. So we had to point that out as well.
Okay, so we'll see what happens there among some of the other results from yesterday. Of course, Kansas got a big win against West Virginia in the Big 12 tournament. Texas pulled away from Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State now they're going to be kind of rubbing their hands and away. They're kind of right there on the bubble too. UCLA, even though they're going to be without Jalen, because one of their top scorers. He's going to be he's done for the season, so that could be a big loss for them. But they did take care of Colorado in the quarterfinal of the Pac-12 tournament, so they had no trouble with them. Marquette, they had to fight it out against St. John's, going to overtime, but they pulled it out. Shaka Smart's crew, pulled it out 72-70. Arizona held off Stanford. I mean, Stanford really gave them a go at it late, so saw a little bit of that game. Iowa State, it looks like they're trying to get back on track. Trying to get a little streak going before the dance. They edged out Baylor. TCU took care of K-State.
Watch out for TCU. They could meet Kansas tomorrow in that Big 12 final. I know they struggled down the stretch, but they played the way they played last night, like they did early in the season when they upset Kansas in Kansas. They could be a dangerous squad come tournament time.
They really could be if they play well. Now, unfortunately, one team that won't be going to a tournament is North Carolina. They lose to Virginia 68-59. Jaden Gardner had 17 points for the Cavs. RJ Davis 24 in a losing effort for North Carolina. It looks like I think they're going to be like the first to go from preseason number 1 to very likely going to the NIT. that's why I was telling our buddy Antoine, say, who's a big North Carolina fan because he's from that area. I was telling him that, look, this is the reason why I've always lobbied for no preseason rankings until almost at the point where conference starts, because I always thought they were number one. I always felt that, I know they had a lot of their guys back from last season that went, of course they went always to the championship game and losing to Kansas, losing a big lead to Kansas, 8-point lead to Kansas, but I always felt that they were maybe a little too high. I mean, they should have been like maybe at most a top 10, not number one. I know they tried to recreate that little cover with Dean Smith and James Worthy and Matt Doherty. Michael Jordan
Sam
was not
Perkins.
there. Yeah, Sam Perkins. Jordan was not there at the time. Well, actually, yeah, he was, but he wasn't. The MJ that we saw, of course, as it went on, but. I always felt that they were a little bit overrated to start the season. So, and then they had some struggles with losing and such. So yeah, they had, they got swept by Duke, and we'll get to them in a second. But yeah, it's just not looking good for Hubert Davis and his guys.
Like you said, the NIT looks like it's going to be the best spot for them. Now, going back to the Big Ten tournament here in Chicago, the results from yesterday, Ohio State takes care of Iowa 73-69. I think Iowa's okay there in the tournament. Ohio State, they're trying to pull off like what Indiana Mike Woodson did a year ago and get to the tournament final. Will that happen today? We'll see when Ohio State plays their opponent later on tonight. Maryland takes care of Minnesota, but Rutgers, which they're playing Purdue right now, they beat Michigan yesterday 62-50. Juwan Howard, he's out as a big dance, and he's out of the Big Ten tournament. I'll ask you, Lakina, Hunter Dickinson scored 24 of Michigan's 50 points. That's unacceptable for the other guys not to step in and step up and help out Hunter Dickinson there. I watched some of that game yesterday. But I want to ask you about Juwan Howard. Is he in trouble going to next year? He did behave himself off the court. He didn't put any hands on anybody, so that's good. But I know they had a hot start to the season with their non-conference schedule, but when Big Ten play started, they struggled. They tried to recover late, but it was too little too late. Do you think he's in trouble going into next year?
I don't think so, but I think he's going to be a lame duck. He could be a lame duck going into next year. I mean, they've underachieved this year. A lot of people thought, especially with Hunter Dickinson coming back, a lot of people thought that was going to sort of like be the turning point, that they could be right up there in the top tier. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So we'll see. Going back to the Ohio State for a second, Bryce Sensabaugh, he's out, for their game against Michigan State. I should say, I'm talking about the Ohio State center. So he averages about 16 points a game. So that's a big loss for Ohio State. So if they're hoping to steal a bid here, yeah, that's going to be even tougher with one of their big guys out. But going to the Big East tournament, DePaul and Xavier. DePaul gave Xavier all they can handle, but it wasn't enough as Xavier pulled it out 89-84. I'm glad that they beat him, because I saw our buddy Ricky O'Donnell said that the first half of DePaul, they shot from like 61% or something like that. It was like the best showing that he's seen since I guess Bobby Simmons and Q Richardson. I'm like, well, okay, you're going that
taking
far
us back to our college days.
So you're going that far back, Ricky? Okay, I don't think so, but yeah, I think Summerfield, I'll give him another year because he had a tough going, with injuries and such. I think a guy left the program too. So, but next year, I mean, they better make a move, because if not, I'm gonna be asking for his head. So, DePaul better get together next year. That's in the Big East tournament. Tennessee held no problem with Ole Miss. San Diego State in the Mountain West Conference tournament, they beat Colorado State. Gave them all they could handle, but they pulled it out. Duke, which some people are saying could be asleep. Could they be a sleeper? Maybe. I mean, they beat Pittsburgh. They got the best from Pitt.
They were shooting hot from outside yesterday, especially from three. John Shire's squad looks like they're primed and ready. I want to ask you this real quick about Duke, Lakita. Maybe I'm jumping on this bandwagon too soon, and maybe we're giving too much credit to Coach K. I'll ask the question the way I'm phrasing it just a second, but can this Duke team be a likable squad again, or am I just daydreaming?
Well, if you saw Kyle Flopowski, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. He had 22 points. He's one of their. He could shoot from the 3-pointer. He was 4 for 6, so he's kind of like one of the reasons. And look, I mean, this is squad's gonna be a lot more like John Shire's. He recruited some of these guys, so that's I can kind of see them being kind of like that likable squad again. I mean, I had no trouble with the Coach K squads. There was some of the guys kind of acted like all like high and mighty and this and that, but they were fine. I mean, like I think could they people be cheering for Duke again? I don't think that'll be the case for some people might, but others may like nah, maybe not. But I think they'll be okay. I think the Duke Duke they're number 21 now, so could they perhaps them in Miami, that could be a good game too. We'll see. But I mean, I feel like, Duke is getting hot at the right time. I think, that's probably going to be the key here. Oregon keeping their, in a Pac-12 tournament, Oregon keeping their hopes alive, 75-70 over Wazoo. And the A-10, they're starting their tournament, their tournament yesterday over at the Barclays Center, 73, wait, I'm looking at the wrong score here, but they're going on right now. I think unfortunately Loyola lost, so unfortunately they're done for the year in their first year in the A-10. So tough show for Coach Valentine and that crew, but I'm sure they'll figure it out next year. St. Louis 62-54 win over George Mason in the first round of that tournament. VCU beat Davidson 71-53 in the A-10 tournament there. So so we're going to take a really quick break and finish up our college hoops talk, and also a big announcement we got coming up talking about Selection Sunday. We'll talk more about that. Also, too, of course, the NBA. The Bulls actually won against Denver. Yes, they did, Sid. I know that's shocking to some folks. A freak injury for KD, and now he's gonna miss the rest of the regular season. Excuse me. And could the Lakers perhaps maybe be getting hot at the right time even without LeBron? Well, you know what? We're gonna have all that and more coming up next. Excuse me, Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown. If I could just get this out. Sports on Chicago. Our basketball power hour coming up right after this.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
And I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you, your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to our Fun Friday edition of Second City Sports. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid, that's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80, SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan's coming in the IG.
We have less than 85 minutes left for this extravaganza we call a Sports Talk Radio Show. If you want to hit us up in the comments section, you can do so by going to Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Typing your questions or comments in the comments section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you. Just a couple of live scoring updates around this great country of ours regarding these conference tournaments in college basketball. Timeout in Chicago, 9:02 left to go in the second half. In Chicago in the Big Ten tournament is Purdue 50, Rutgers 46. In the American Athletic Conference Championship in the quarterfinal, East Carolina is holding on to a 1-point lead over the Houston Cougars, the number one team in the country. In that contest in the SEC tournament in Nashville, Tennessee, we have number 4 Alabama leading Mississippi State. The Crimson Tide lead the Bulldogs 24-13. And that's 6:06 to go in the first half.
Yeah, and Creighton's up about 9 against Villanova right now in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament. So that's going on over at MSG. So if you guys want, check that out, you can. Now going back into finish up our college hoops discussion. You want to give congrats to Louisiana. They're going back for the first time since 2014. They win the Sun Belt. Furman, they're going back for the first time. It's been a while, since 1980. They win the Southern Conference tournament. Northern Kentucky, the Norse, Darren Horn and his crew, they're going back to the tournament for the first time since 2019, claiming the Horizon League. Shout out to our buddy Jordan Burnfield, who called the game with former Louisville star, David Pageant. Charleston, they're back in the dance for, this time as a member of the Colonial, as a CAA, they're headed to back to the tournament. They got the most wins. Oral Roberts, who went undefeated in the Summit League, 18-0. They're going back to the dance for the second time in 3 years. They could be someone that could give a team fit. So please, if you got, they're predicted to be about a 13 or 14 seed. There could be a dangerous 13 or 14 seed, a very senior laden squad there. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they're going back to the tournament for the first time. I think it's like 2012 or something like that. They win the Southland, and Colgate, they're back at the dance. This is for the 6th straight time and for the 3rd straight year.
They made their WGN radio, and our good friend of the show calls them the Toothpaste University.
Yeah, Donald Foyle, you got to remember, go back to those days when he was playing there. Also to Montana State, they're going back to the dance for the 2nd straight year. Going, back from the Big Sky. They win the Big Sky Conference championship. So those are just some of the teams that have already punched their tickets. Of course, Selection Sunday will be announced, of course, this Sunday. Duh. So, but other conferences that are, of course, we talked about the big, the big guys, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big East, SEC. Of course, you still got Conference USA, Florida Atlantic. They're trying to get back to the tournament. Their game against Middle Tennessee, they've had their number the last couple of times they played. So they're trying to get back to the tournament for the first time in a bit. Then you've got of course, the HBCUs. You got the MEAC and the SWAC. Their tournaments are going on right now. We talk about the A10 and such. So a lot of of course, the American, of course, where Houston is. Houston trying to get that overall number 1 seed. So that's all the West, the Big West tournament, all the all the other West Conference tournament other than the Pac-12. So with the Mountain West going on right now too, not as we speak, but they'll be getting back into action later on. So what conference are you looking forward to, Sid, as we get ready for
I'm glad you asked that. It's actually a couple of games that I'm looking forward to tonight, and we'll leave Chicago alone for a minute. But I want to go to the ACC, back to the ACC. I believe it's tonight at 6 on the big ESPN, Duke versus Miami. We talked about Miami here and there all season long being a surprise team coming out of the ACC. I know they had some nice seasons in years past. Of course, if you remember, if you're in Chicago, Loyola beat them in 2018 in the opening rounds. Loyola went on that surprise run to the Final Four in San Antonio. But I'm really looking forward to that game tonight, Duke and Miami. I think the first one, call me crazy, the first one to 80 points, maybe 85 points will win this one tonight. I expect a shootout. Call me crazy, but I expect it to be a shootout tonight.
Yeah, they split their regular season meetings, so this could be one of those toss-ups. Like I said, Duke's getting hot at the right time, but Miami, they've been pretty consistent all year. So I think this could be probably one of the bigger good ones tonight. And also too for seeding purposes. I mean, this could be maybe a 2 or maybe a 3 or 4 seed might be, at stake here for both these teams. So could be a good one tonight. Creighton Xavier, of course, that game, going on right. That's going to be at 8:00 on FS1 tonight. Of course, Creighton beat Villanova. We talked about that. So yeah, I'm watching the replay of that game as we speak. But yeah, that should be a foe between these two because they both split their season series too. They both won on their own home floor. So that should be a fun one tonight. Indiana and Maryland, of course, again, they split their season series. Penn State and Northwestern, that should be interesting one in the Big Ten. I think.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that game tonight. I think that's
Penn
going to be a
State's
sneaky good game tonight. It's not going to be easy for Northwestern.
Yeah, they basically they split their season series. So yeah, Penn State. If you're Penn State, you want to try to make sure you get into that other side of that bubble. I think Northwestern's in, but they might be 11 seed if they lose tonight. So I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be interesting that game. That'll be a fun one. Texas and TCU in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament. That should be a fun one. Again, they both split their season series, so that should be a fun one. Arizona State. I'm sure Arizona wants their revenge because a 20-footer 3-point shot, ended their regular season Pac-12 hope. So that's why UCLA ended up, getting the Pac-12 title. I'm sure Arizona would like to return the favor. They play at 10:30. That's going to be one of the late games on the big ESPN network.
Yeah, just to put a capper on the Northwestern tonight, Lakina, as they face Penn State. That's tonight at 5:30 on Big Ten Network. Now with the Illinois Fighting Illini gone from the tournament, from the Big Ten tournament, Northwestern has the home crowd advantage at the United Center. Everybody in Chicago is going to be rooting for them. I think if they don't, the first 10 minutes of this contest is going to tell how they're going to set the tone for this game because everybody's cheering for them now. Everybody's behind them. Expectations are high because they finished the regular season with 21 wins, and complacency could set in. And that's why I think it's important for head coach Chris Collins of Northwestern to sell those guys down and say, hey, everybody's behind us. This is not a give me game. You saw what Penn State did to Illinois yesterday. If we come out flat, we may not be able to recover. So I think the first 10 minutes of this game will tell the tale of how this game should go. Northwestern, you got to come out strong with a hot start. And who's going to help out Boo Buie? Don't laugh at the brother's name, but who's going to help out Boo Buie in the scoring department?
Well, like I said, I mean, you know what? I think if you set the tone, I think Penn State can set the tone. They were able to set the tone early on against Illinois. That's why Illinois, they did make a little bit of a comeback. They weren't able to, complete it. So if you're going to do that, I mean, I think that's going to be the key for Northwestern. They want to beat Penn State and try to get that better seed in the dance. Clemson, Virginia, that's going to be the other ACC semifinal. Clemson, they're trying to kind of get back going. I think they're in the tournament, but too, they could beat Virginia, get to the ACC final. That should be be interesting there as well. A couple of teams to watch in some of the smaller conference tournaments in the WAC. New Mexico State, they've been the king of that conference the last 10 years. Some stuff that have come up. We won't get into that. Google's your friend, folks. But Grand Canyon, Bryce Drew, a Grand Canyon squad. They're located just outside Phoenix. They could, perhaps maybe get into the tournament. They play Sam Houston in the semifinals of that tournament at 8:00 on ESPN Plus. That could be a team that could be looking out for. Akron, some people say Akron could be a sleeper in the big dance. Also any of the teams, Kent State, they play each other in the semifinal. So that either one of those I meant MAC, not MAAC, but an MAC conference and Mid American Conference I'm talking about. But yeah, those are some of the teams that could be something to look out for as well. Of course, we talked about Florida Atlantic earlier, but yeah. So this could be like one of those times when all these games are gonna be on various ESPN, CBS is gonna have the Big Ten Network, and I believe the Mountain West as well. So You know, that could be, and also, you know, ESPN's got the Pac-12 network among others. So yeah, you just look out for some of these games, you know, and see who you guys, you know, might like, you know, as you're going to the big dance, you know, coming up next week.
All right. And speaking of the big dance, here's our major announcement. Us here at Second City Sports Zone Chicago will have a selection Sunday special coming up this Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, exclusively right here on Sports Zone Chicago. That's right. Yours truly, along with Miss Lakina McGee, will be hosting our third. This will be our third year doing this, Lakina, right? Second year here on Sports Zone Chicago. So after you watch CBS and all their overrated analysts insult your intelligence when they reveal the brackets, you come to us this Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on Sports Zone Chicago. We'll break down the brackets. We'll have our good friend Mike Chin, formerly of 670 Score, now a college basketball writer and analyst. He'll be on the show with us, breaking down the brackets, and we'll give you the previews of Illinois, perhaps Northwestern as well, who their matchups are going to be in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So once again, the big announcement, Second City Sports Sunday Selection Special, this Sunday, March 12th, 2023, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on Sports Zone Chicago. We'll get you ready for the big dance.
Well, I'm sure we're going to be promoting it, you know, from now until Sunday. So make sure you guys check us out as you listen to Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago. Lakina McGee, Sydney Brown with you. Stay with the hoops theme here as we'll go to the pro variety, of course, in the NBA. Of course, we'll get this out the way. You know, talk some Bulls. Yes, you know, I know our buddy Lamont, you know, said it too. Yes, the Bulls actually did beat the Nuggets. I know that that's hard for some people to figure.
You sure that's not a score from the 90s?
No, well, no. Remember that this is their second straight win against the. This is the Bulls' second straight win against the Nuggets in Denver. So it's not a typo. I mean, they dominated them pretty well as we got into the second half. I mean, don't worry. I think a lot of us were shocked too. 117-96. You know, 6. Zach had 29 points. They actually, you know, this is actually the best defense I've ever saw from the Bulls. In the last couple of games. I mean, you know, they held Nikola Jokic to just only a double-double. He only had 18 points and 12 boards.
I guess that's a start.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had 8 assists, but a couple of assists were kind of like garbage, were kind of in garbage time. P. Will had his best game, you know, in a while, had 18 points off the bench. Of course, you know, Vooch had 25 and 15. I mean, he kind of tamed Nikola Jokic a little bit. I mean, he did get his shots and stuff like that, but when it really counted, I mean, you know, in the second half, I mean, the third quarter, they outscored the Nuggets 36-24. So, you know, look, I know people were kind of wondering, okay, was this a fluke, or, you know, were like the Nuggets not interested? You know, I know our buddy Mac Peck said on said on CHGO the post game show that, oh, what, does somebody have a party? You know, that night before, and that's why, you know, they were like, well, maybe let's give the Bulls a little bit. I know the Bulls have done stuff, and, you know, other stuff that have come out that, yeah, they haven't deserved to kind of, like, you know, people roll in their eyes, but let's give a little bit of credit. I mean, this is the number 1 seed in the West right now. Well, let's give a little bit of credit for being them. I mean, I know, yes, it's easy to rag on them, but yeah, let's give them a little bit of love, please.
I will say this. Did you check out Zach LaVine's vintage breakaway dunk, which had to have the stadium, which was filled with Bulls fans, by the way, up and off their feet? I'll give him that. And plus, Zach LaVine, as I told you once, Patrick Beverly signed a couple weeks ago. Zach LaVine's game has changed. He's not just settling for that jump shot anymore. He's being aggressive, going to the basket, and playing a little bit of defense. I'm not saying it's going to be defensive player of the year. I'm not expecting that, but he's starting to expand his going back to his all-around game, and I love that. Number 2, Nikolai Vucevic. It's the first time in a while the Bulls have found him to be a part of their offense. We've been saying it all year, Lakina. Once you involve Vucevic in the offense, besides giving him the ball in the post where he has the matchup size advantage, he usually does well 9 times out of 10. He's one of the best passing big men in the league. Once you involve him in the offense, the Bulls usually do well offensively. Like you mentioned, 25 points and 15 rebounds, it goes a long way. And DeMar DeRozan, I know he has 17, but once Zach plays his complete game and once you involve Vooch in the offense, it makes life that much easier for DeMar DeRozan. Even though he had 17 the other night, you don't expect DeMar DeRozan to play hero ball. It's nice as fans to watch it sometimes, but when DeMar DeRozan plays hero ball, he gets tired. And when he gets tired, other Bulls players on the floor stand around. And you don't usually win that way.
Well, yeah, and I think it's one of those things where I'm sure if you saw his comments afterwards, he was relieved, to see, okay, I didn't have to do too much against, against Denver. So, like, I mean, he was able to kind of, chill. Look, he still got his shots, he still got his points, but the good news is that he was able to, he had everybody else. He had, Vooch picking up the slack. Zach was doing his thing. So, it was, look, as our buddy Big Dave Watson, also from CHGO, would say, I mean, look, let this is what we want to see. Hopefully we can get more of this consistently because, like I said, the teams ahead of them are losing. We'll get to them in a little bit, but look, I mean, they play the Rockets tomorrow. I know they've been giving them a hard time talking about the Rockets this season. So
and they gave them a hard time last season too.
Yeah, so I hope they've had a couple of days off to kind of get going. So celebrate the win for a little bit. Let's get back to business. They're trying to get into the play-in. So. And also, they're not that far from the main spot either. So I know this might shock some Bulls fans, but it's the truth. I'm not making this up, but we'll see what happens there as we talk about the rest of the NBA now. Sticking to that Wednesday matchup here now. The Suns beat OKC 132-101. Devin Booker had a season high 50. Well, one of his season. Well, not really a season high. That's actually 44. But unfortunately, KD slipped on a wet spot, practicing, and I guess he twisted his ankle pretty badly, so he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. You would think, he played there, for years, so you think he would know. And those wet spots, I don't know. If I were Monty Williams, I mean, this is not with his nature. I'd be a little bit pissed right now, about that wet spot. But we'll see what they can do the rest of the season. But they got a tough one this weekend, but I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, without Kevin Durant, the Phoenix Suns do not have a shot of winning the NBA title. We talked about the aging Chris Paul, their point guard. Devin Booker, as you mentioned, even though he had a big game the other night, he's been out most of the first half of the season with injuries. Now he's finally starting to get his game back. So as long as Chris Paul and Devin Booker both stay healthy and now between now until the end of the regular season, when they hopefully get Kevin Durant back, the Phoenix Suns should be fine. But once the playoffs starts, if Kevin Durant's not there, they do not have a shot to get out of the Western Conference. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that wet spot. If I were Monty Williams, that's your own home court too.
Exactly.
I'm sure he's probably giving them the death stare. This, I guess, it's not. He's doing.
Someone should be paying for a pink slip.
Yeah, someone should be getting a pink slip for this. I'm like, really? You didn't wipe that spot, dude? But going into yesterday's action. Here, the Kings, bring out the Kings. Yeah, Deontay
Yay!
24 points as the Kings held off the Knicks 122-117. I mean, if you had told me that earlier this season this game would be in a prime spot on TNT, I would have looked at you like you were nuts. But here we are. I mean, RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett have 25 and a losing effort. Julius Randle only had 23. But I mean, Sabonis had 24. De'Aaron Fox had 23. Another good one. Another good showing by him. Trey Lyles, who's from Kentucky, had 18 off the bench for them. So nice scoring effort there by the Kings. Yeah,
De'Aaron Fox really put on a show last night. He had some big buckets down the stretch. On the flip side for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, who's already been injured with a foot, he re-injured it last night. He left the game at halftime, did not return. He did put up 19 points. But Lakina, remember we talked about this on the last couple of shows. The Knicks sometimes fail to close games out down the stretch. They got away with it last Sunday night at Boston. It cost them the other night in Charlotte against the Charlotte Hornets at MSG, which their lone winning streak was snapped there. Julius Randle, the primary ball handler, he did it again last night. 30 seconds left to go. He lost the ball off his foot. Sacramento was able to put it away with some free throws. Randle ended up with 23 points and 10 rebounds. But the Knicks, even though they're 10 games over 500, they need to learn how to close games out, especially against better teams, and they got to get Jalen Brunson back healthy.
They need him back desperately. It's weird there, but tough loss for Brooklyn. Even though the bench scored 98 points against the Bucks, they actually are that's the most by the team since they started tracking those types of stats all the way back in the early 70s. The starting five scored 15 combined points. So unfortunately, they didn't. It was their bench that kind of kept it in it, but unfortunately, their stars kind of let them down late.
Yep, and for Milwaukee, it's all about getting guys healthy for the playoffs. Giannis is playing at another MVP type level, and hopefully you can get guys like Chris Middleton back towards the end of the regular season. Hopefully you can get his conditioning back. So I will not sleep on Milwaukee, I know that Brooklyn is still technically in the mix for the playoffs. I don't know if they can hang on. It'll be a miracle if they will hang on to their playoff spot. But we'll see what happens. But Milwaukee, this is their time right now to get everything into form because the top is that top heavy spot in the Eastern Conference is still up for grabs between them, Philadelphia, and Boston.
We'll get to Philly and they had an interesting week in a second, but Golden State lose a tough one to the Grizzlies. Sans John Moran 131-110. They actually gave up 77 points in the first half. That's the most they've given up in the half this season, including 48 in the first quarter, which is the most they've given up under the Steve Kerr era. So look, Tyus Jones had 22 points and look, I think can the Grizzlies? I mean, like you said, we talked about it when they did this a few years back. I mean, they were able to kind of keep it going without Ja, but you gotta wonder how long they can do it.
Yeah, speaking of John Moran, he'll miss at least the next 4 games due to his off the court issues, and he was not charged when him flashing up a gun on the Instagram live. So thank goodness for that, and thank goodness the situation didn't turn out any worse. That's all we'll say about that. But Memphis, at least for the next 4 games, will be without John Moran. Like you said, they did this in stretches last year, Lakina, and they held serve. But when it came to the playoffs, when John Moran got hurt, especially in the end of that Golden State series, that's what cost them their season. I think they'll survive here because they've done it before, as you mentioned, but I don't know if it's going to be the same result this time because they're in the battle of their lives in the Western Conference standings. Look after last night, especially with Sacramento winning. Sacramento is at number 2 in Memphis is at number 3, and especially at the Clippers. Yeah, around I think it's the Clippers next.
Look, if you want to keep up with the Clippers, speaking
right,
of, a nice
like I say, if they get rolling, they get easily overtake Memphis' spot.
Yeah, they won 108-100. They held off to Toronto. Kawhi had 24.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday. So that's what nice ever air there. I said Wednesday. I know what I said.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes,
I apologize.
I know what I said, Sid. I know. But tough loss here for the Mavs as on Wednesday as they lose to the Pelicans 113-106. I mean, CJ McCollum had 32 points. Kyrie had 27. Look, I'm not saying that there's trouble here with Dallas, but I mean, give the Pelicans credit for the win, especially. But like I said, CJ McCollum 32 points was a season high for him. But Luka only had 15. He
got hurt again during that game.
So he's having trouble staying healthy. I'm talking about Luka. So. Trouble in paradise for the one Dallas Mavericks?
Maybe. I want to go back to that Toronto Clippers game for a second, Lakina. Fred VanVleet, not Chicago's very own, a product of Rockford, Illinois. The point guard for the Raptors. He picked up a technical foul on Wednesday. I think that's his 8th of the year. Half of those are about that specific referee, of course. VanVleet was fined $30,000 for his comments following the game last night. Do you think he has a point there?
Yeah, but I think the presentation. I think the way. I mean, he did the best he could. He didn't swear, so it wasn't like he didn't. He didn't say anything that was wrong. Maybe, like I said, maybe his delivery. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get suspended because I'm sure if this was David Stearns, he would have been suspended for like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
even bigger than that $30,000 fine. But I mean, look, I mean, I think I heard. I forgot. I think it was Tony Kornheiser on PTI said it earlier in the week. Maybe all the players, some of the top players, some of the top referees, that need to kind of come together in a summit sort of thing before the playoffs. Because you don't want this to be an issue when the playoffs start. I don't want a bad call or this or that or someone gets ejected or whatever. I don't want this to be an issue. So if you're the NBA, you probably may want to kind of like do a little bit of a little summit here before the playoffs start, just for if not nothing else, for your own sanity purposes.
Yeah. Just a couple more scores to pass along from the NBA from earlier this week. We'll wrap it up with Tuesday's action. Congratulations to Pau Gasol. I believe he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, is he? Lakina?
He will be in a couple like next week when they announce the class.
Okay.
He is a finalist, so he should be in. I mean,
well, we know that he is, but like you said, he'll officially get in. But the Lakers retired his number 16 jersey on Tuesday before the Grizzlies, the game against the Grizzlies and the Lakers, which the Lakers won, by the way, 112-103. I know you teased about it before the break, Lakina, but are the Lakers starting to play well without LeBron James? I think right now the answer is yes. One, Anthony Davis is healthy and he's playing like a madman. And number 2, they have help around LeBron, even though LeBron's not there. Jared Vanderbilt has been one key, and another key has been Austin Reeves.
Yes, I know that's your buddy. He has 17 off the bench for them, so that's his buddy Austin Reeves. But yeah, he's been pretty solid. Dennis Schroeder has been pretty solid as well. I know D'Angelo Russell. I think he's supposed to play. I think this weekend, so hopefully that'll give him even bigger of a little bit of a spark and a jump there. But yeah, that was a really sweet moment. I actually caught some of that. It was live on because the game was live on TNT, and it was great to see. It was great to see Vanessa Bryant there. She actually showed a clip of what Kobe said, about how that was a really sweet and touching moment. It's just too bad that you saw Powell's expression when his jersey was retired right next to Kobe's. You could tell the tears were flowing. I'm sure there was no tears over that over at Staples. I'm not calling out that corporate name. Sorry. But yeah, so you guys get a chance to see a report. You saw Jimmy Butler out there. He actually flew.
Yeah, he surprised him. I thought that was nice. Remember, those two played in Chicago for a couple of seasons. So.
Good times. So I
guess.
That was a sweet moment too. But of course, after that win that they really needed against Atlanta, even though they did lose to Cleveland on Wednesday. But it is what it is with Miami. But a nice win for the Lakers. Philly had a nice week. Back-to-back wins against the Pacers. Thank you, Philly and Minnesota. So nice, back-to-back wins for them as well. Boston, they're starting to struggle a little bit. They lose a close one to Cleveland in overtime. But I'm not worried. But I don't think Boston fans should be worried. I mean, they bounced back with a win over Portland. So I wouldn't be too worried. But, going into this weekend's games tonight, Friday, Portland and Philadelphia at 6. You got Atlanta and Washington at 6 as well. And of course, you got basket college hoops on ESPN. So now the Friday doubleheader was on NBA TV. First game of that will be Cleveland against Miami. Hopefully they can kind of get a little bit of get back from that last year early this week.
Yeah, finishing up the Friday night schedule for tonight. Brooklyn and Minnesota at 7:00. San Antonio will host the Denver Nuggets at 7:00. In the second half of that NBA TV Friday night doubleheader tonight, we'll feature the Toronto Raptors as they continue their West Coast road trip. They'll play the Lakers, and that's at 9:30 Chicago time.
Saturday tomorrow, you got the Knicks and the Clippers. Should be a fun one at 3:00. I believe the Kings are playing. I think later tonight. That's why they're playing it so early at 3:00. So hence the early start time. Utah and Charlotte at 6:00. Indiana and Detroit at 6. Go Pistons if you're a Bulls fan. Miami going to second. They're back to back. They're facing Orlando at 6. They're not going too far though. And Boston, Atlanta. That should be a fun one at 6:30.
All right, finishing out the Saturday night schedule, we'll have the Bulls taking on the Rockets. That's at 7:00. Also at 7, we have Dallas visiting Memphis to take on the John Morant-less Memphis Grizzlies. At 7:30, we'll have OKC traveling to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Your Saturday night game of the week for ABC will feature the Milwaukee Bucks at the Golden State Warriors. That's at 7:30 Central Standard Time. And wrapping up the Saturday night schedule, this will be a good one, unfortunately, without KD. But we'll have the Sacramento Kings going on the road to the Valley of the Sun to take on the Phoenix Suns.
The Milwaukee Golden State game is going to be interesting because, Golden State kicks butt at home. It's been the road that's been a big issue for them.
And Steph is back now for a couple of games, so this will heighten it up that much more.
Going into Sunday matchup in between, Selection Sunday and after Selection Sunday, you got at 2:30, you got Brooklyn and Denver. Then at 4, you got Cleveland and Charlotte. Washington and Philadelphia. Go Sixers. That's at 5:00 on Sunday, right before Selection Sunday.
Yes. And at 6:00, we'll have Portland and New Orleans as the Blazers will take on the Pelicans. Also at 6:00 on Sunday, we have OKC at San Antonio. And wrapping up the Sunday night schedule, this will be the late game on ESPN. The New York Knicks wrap up their West Coast road trip as they'll take on the Los Angeles Lakers.
That should be a fun one. And of course, after all the the bracket breakdowns, after you watch our bracket breakdown, of course, on Sunday.
Yes.
But yeah, so that should be a fun one there. So hour number 1 in the books, hour number 2 straight ahead. Crazy things happening in the NFL. Guys.
You don't say.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got Aaron Rodgers maybe going to the Jets. Lamar Jackson, his contract situation. Various familiar names are being released and restructuring their deals. So Of course, our girl Christy Manika from KXRB will be here in a little bit to talk some other stuff as well. So a lot busy hour 2 coming up. So Lakina McGee, City Brothers, Second City Sports on Sports of Chicago, talking some NFL right after this.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Hi, I'm Tom Brady, the director of DODEA. September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. The simple act of reaching out and caring for those in our communities is something we all can do. Just being there for someone you care about can be a tremendous first step in getting them access to confidential resources and support that they need. It only takes one person and one small act and 1 minute to make a difference. Let's make a difference.
Move it!
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Second City Sports on our Fun Friday Fun edition. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, it's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow Akina McGee on the Twitter and Akina McGee on the IG. Of course, if you got a question or a comment for us, through this last hour of our great program, we can do it on Sports on Chicago's both our Facebook and YouTube pages right now as we speak, as our buddy Lamont's been doing, and also others been doing as well. So make sure you guys check that out.
Yeah, as usual, Lakina, this is one of the few times I missed doing our radio show in the studio, but of course we're following the Big Ten tournament, all the college basketball tournaments for you guys as we do our live show. Oh, some little, I don't want to say fisticuffs, but some rough play going on between Rutgers and Zach Edey and Purdue. Now that it's an official review, I don't know someone's going to get kicked out. Now, I didn't see any punches being thrown. I caught the last part of it late. So some physical play in college basketball is getting rough and tumble especially this time of year.
As John Rothstein would say from CBS Sports and CBS Sports Network, this is March. So, Yeah, of course, days will be coming fast and furious here. But as we saw on the scroll, a lot of NFL news to talk about. Of course, we'll keep you guys updated with all the stuff going on in the tournament, conference tournaments and whatnot. But a whole lot of stuff here. Where do you want to start off first, Sid? Because there's so much going on here.
Yeah, we'll start off in NYC, where Aaron Rodgers, the current quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, as we get into NFL discussion, he's out of hibernation now, quote unquote. I know that New York Jets owner Woody Johnson and other representatives for the organization met with Aaron Rodgers in his home state of California the other day. I know that ESPN's Diana Rossini, who's a heck of a reporter for ESPN, she reported that there was a lot of optimism about after the meeting with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and his representatives. So it looks like the Jets will go out and see if they can try to acquire via trade, obviously, Mr. Rodgers' services. We talked about Zach. I forget his name because he's been that damn irrelevant. But Zach Wilson, thank you. He lost the locker room last year. Robert Saleh now going into his third year next year for 2023. You know as well as I do, Lakina, if you're an NFL head coach, if you don't win in your third year, you haven't won in your first 2 years, year three is the key for you. If you don't win, you're going to be out of a job. So if you're the Jets, you rather take this chance. Of course, their defense is a good defense. I know they tired out down the stretch last year after starting out the year 7-4, but they're still a very good defense. You still have some nice weapons on offense with Garrett Wilson, the rookie wide receiver from Ohio State. Of course, Breece Hall had a nice year before his season got cut short due to injury. So Aaron Rodgers, should the Jets do it, he's going to have some nice weapons around him. If you're a Jets fan, you should be excited. Listen to both New York sports radio stations the last few days. Of course, you're going to have some fans that would say, I don't like Aaron Rodgers' personality, this and that and the third. I say, okay, who cares? But the Jets haven't been this relevant in a long time. Yeah, they really haven't had a franchise quarterback. I know Aaron Rodgers is up there in age. You're going to have him for at least 2 or 3 years. And if I'm a Jets fan, you would take that. That would enhance your chances of eventually winning the title.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Sauce Gardner burning cheese heads, please don't do that, folks. A PSA, do not do that at home. All you Jets fans, should it happen, look, I want to wait and see. I mean, I know there was there's been a lot of optimism. Look, nothing can be official till next Wednesday. That's when the new league year starts. So it'll be interesting to see if he does go that route and go to Arizona. To the Jets. But I hope he's ready for all the New York backlash, especially if they have a bad game. At least with the Green Bay people, they'll leave you alone. Well, they'll get on you, but they'll leave you alone. And the New York media is merciless. So is Rodgers ready for that? I don't know, but seeing a lot of his potential teammates very optimistic. I saw Breece Hall tweet something, begging Aaron Rodgers to come. I saw Garrett Wilson also tweeted something very similar. So do I think they become a title contender? No. Do they give Buffalo a run for their money in the AFC East? Yes, but let's wait and see if he actually signs a contract first before because all this is going to be moot if he decides to stay in Green Bay because he can make more money, staying in Green Bay. I know the Green Bay people don't want that, but the Brass don't want that. They're praying that he goes to New York, but again, we'll see. I know some people will compare this as if when Brady went to the Bucks a few years back. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I think they definitely make him a contender in the AFC East.
Yeah, because you still have Buffalo there. You still have Miami. We don't know the status of Tua Tagovailoa. Their starting quarterback. Remember, he had like 3 concussions last year, and it was terrible. So they barely made it into the playoffs. But you still, of course, the Jets are still there, and of course, you still have New England, who barely missed the playoffs this year after qualifying for it last year. The Jets will be right there, but how many veterans what's going to take to get Aaron Rodgers? First of all, how many picks? How much draft capital do you have? And can you create enough salary cap space to bring some of Aaron Rodgers' guys in there? Because he's going to want his guys in there because even though he had a good year last year, Lakina, even though he played on the busted finger, he's going to want some of those guys, i.e. some receivers that he's been familiar with throughout his career. It's going to bring some experience to help jumpstart that offense.
That's going to be really going to be the thing. That's really going to be what's been missing from the last last couple of years. They were kind of like right there in the cusp, in the wild card. They fell out late. So I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna wait and see. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Now, probably another big news is is Lamar Jackson. The Ravens decided to they placed notice a couple of days ago saying that, look, we're going to put a non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar, and he can negotiate with other teams. But the Ravens, should he get an offer sheet, will match any offer sheet that he signs, and if he doesn't, and if they don't match it, they take 2 first-round picks in return for him. So if you're the Ravens brass, your plan is pretty well, because you're gonna get something. You're either gonna get Lamar's gonna get his money, or you get 2 first-round picks and start over. Now, if you're John Harbaugh, you don't want to go through another rebuild. So, but then I heard Wilbon say on PTI that look at the two Super Bowls the Ravens have won. I mean, Joe Flacco, he had his moments, but look where he is now. Trent Dilfer, we all saw in the Ravens 30 for 30 a few weeks back. So, they really don't. I'm not saying they don't need Jackson, and if you're Jackson,
they do.
If you're Jackson, you didn't play this very well, because for one, this is when you don't not having an agent comes back to bite you in the butt, because you could have done this after you won the MVP. Agent would have said, you know what, try to get your money, try to get it front load so you can get your cash. Now you're in a tough spot. You haven't played a full season in 2 years. I don't blame the Ravens for not wanting to give that massive Deshaun Watson $250 million guarantee, or 230, or whatever the number was that was offered to him. I don't know what numbers he's looking for. He's not going to get 300. He's not not with them, and not probably with any other team that's trying to match him. So if you're the Ravens, I saw the guys from Get Up say that, well, maybe you should sit out for the year. Well, that's the reason why you're in this mess now. You're by sitting out. You're basically like you're giving up on your team. So yeah, you won an MVP, but that was about 4 years ago. That's like about 1 million years ago in the NFL. And they're the one what you done for me lately kind of league. So I would say try to figure it out, because we all saw the Panthers, and I thought some other teams and such. They're not gonna go there yet. We'll see what happens down the line, but. For me, I think Lamar. I think the Ravens actually have the edge here, because they're playing this very smartly.
Here's the question I want to ask you, Lakina, and all of our sports zoners, as Sean Sierra would say, our listeners and viewers. You can hit us up in the comment section at Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page, or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. And listening to a couple of national sports radio shows throughout the week, a couple of hosts have been suggesting collusion. Do you see this here? I can see a case for it. Because let's be honest here, Lamar Jackson is looking for that full guarantee contract, like you said, just like Deshaun Watson. So let's be honest here, Cleveland, we know why they did, because despite Watson's off the field foolishness, we won't get into that. But despite what Watson got, I know Lamar Jackson is looking for that similar type of thing, and kind of like what Kyler Murray got too, the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, because. If you're an NFL owner, because here's the thing, the NFL players, the majority of their contracts are 25 to 30% guaranteed. The contracts are not fully guaranteed. The signing bonus is what you pay attention to. That's what goes against the cap. Let's just say a player signs for 3 years, $100 million, but $50 million is guaranteed. That's the number you should be paying attention to, the guaranteed money. And for Lamar Jackson, I don't blame him for asking for a fully guaranteed contract, but like you said, this is when the agent comes in. They'll better explain this to you, not your family members. I'll leave that alone. But do you believe there's a collusion here? Because do you want to be that first owner that will be quote unquote outed for giving Lamar Jackson a fully guaranteed contract?
Yeah, I heard that. I saw some people brought up race into it, but I'm like, look, the two of the biggest
I'm not going to deal with that race issue.
Yeah,
that's
BS.
Yeah.
I mean, the two guys that had the biggest contracts on the quarterback side are both black quarterbacks. So for anybody that wants to bring up race is stupid and foolish. So yeah, I can go pound sand with that. Now the collusion part, I mean, no, I think it's just like I said. I think it's just smart business savvy. I mean, they're not going to give, the Raiders are not going to give you $250 million when you haven't played a full season the last 2 years. If it makes it like you're giving up on your team. And for all those, some national guys that said, well, maybe you should sit out for this season coming up. Oh, okay. Well, that's not going to make you look worse.
Yeah, that's bad
So
optics right there.
so, you better try and figure it out, and maybe a team will come in and say, "Okay, look, we'll give you 200 and 60 million guaranteed, and a lot of it's going to be front loaded." You're not going to get that from a lot of teams. So, I don't think there's collusion. I think it's just a very smart business decision by the Ravens. I think again, this is where an agent comes in and says, "Okay, look, okay, let's try to meet in the middle here. I don't know what's going on with the Mars people. This is why you bring on a Drew Rosenhaus or someone of that ilk. Try and see, okay, look, Lamar, you want to do this and this and this? Okay, let's try to make this happen. Let's use this number and see if they can, because from what we've heard, the Ravens have topped all that money that Deshaun Watson got. This is from what we've heard. So I don't know I don't know if he's trying to haul for 300 million or what, but something's got to give here. And look, I know Lamar doesn't want to, push one on who's been in his ear, in his family, but this is when an agent should come in and say, okay, let's be a little bit more reasonable. Let's see what we can do, and let's see if we can come up with a number.
You're listening to Second City Sports on a Friday Fun Edition. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Sid Lakina here with you, talking about the NFL craziness that's going around as free agency starts around this time next week. Lakina, speaking of smart agencies, Daniel Jones gets fresh cash as he re-ups with the New York Football Giants. 4 years, $160 million. I believe 82 of that is guaranteed. And his cap hit next year, I believe, is at $18 million, I believe. So that was smart by the Giants. And the New York Giants franchise slapped the franchise tag on the running back Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if they can figure out on a deal here, and I'm sure he's gonna want big money too. So I'm sure he's gonna try and play next year. Had a solid season last year, as well as look. The only reason why Daniel Jones got that big contract because he had a big year last year under Brian Daboll's offense. Let's see what happens in the next year or two when other teams start figuring out this offense that he's gonna be running. I want to see if he actually, or not to say he didn't deserve that money, but let's be honest. Let's be honest as to why he's able to get that nice little fresh paper. Let's see what he does, in the next year, and see once teams start having film with the offense, how it's ran and such. So,
and also too, let's see what kind of playmakers that Daniel Jones will have around him, because I know in his presser the other day, he talked about Saquon without getting into his business, as he literally said. But what kind of wide receivers are they going to have? Because Chicago's very young. Kenny Galladay out of there. He was dead weight and brought very little production. Remember Kadarius Toney? Now he has a world championship ring with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, of course, they're not bringing back Odell Beckham. He's an older player now. He sat out all last year due to that torn ACL that he suffered with the Rams in that Super Bowl game a year or so ago. So he's not coming back. So you have a lack of playmakers around Daniel Jones. Yes, Saquon Barkley, if he's back, will help, but you still need to some playmakers. There are playmakers that can help make some plays down the field in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be the thing. Can the Giants try to get him to look? I need some help here, so if you want me to keep bringing in these numbers, so we'll just see what happens here. Now, Minnesota, they're out a couple of their veteran guys in the salary cutting moves. As is Darius Smith, the Pro Bowl pass rusher from the Vikings, also two wide receiver, 4-time Pro Bowler Adam Thielen. They are gone, and they're more. This is more of a cap thing, with the Vikings than anything else. So I'm wondering, look, a pass rusher. I mean, we'll start with Smith first. I mean, what do you think? Should the Bears probably have to try to maybe get either one of those guys? But if you're either one of them, and if you're I can't believe Adam Thielen is already 32 years old. I mean, it feels like he's just.
I know, right?
Where's the time gone? But yeah, you're gonna want to go to a contender. So I would say I'll do with we'll do Smith first, because everyone needs a pass rusher, right? I mean,
I think if you're the Bears, you should take a snap. How old is Ladarius Smith?
I'll look it up, but yeah, I'll look it up, but yeah, he should be doing more like 28 or 29 or something like that. So.
Yeah, if that's the case, if you're the Bears and Ryan Poles, I will sniff around there as long as you don't break the bank for him. I'll sign him into a 2-year deal, laced with some incentives. Even though the Bears have the most cap space in the league, I won't break the bank for him, but I'll give him a 2-year deal.
He's 30 years old, Zadarius Smith. So yeah, he's still got a little bit left in the tank. So yeah, they could be able. The Bears could probably try to make a run at him. I think. Look, the Ravens need a pass rusher badly. Who else needs a pass rusher?
I was gonna say Buffalo.
Buffalo. I was just gonna say Buffalo needs a pass rusher to help out Von Miller. So we saw what happened last year after he got injured. So
Yeah, their run defense was terrible as well.
Yes, they were bad. So that should the Steelers. I mean, I'm sure Mike Tomlin would love to have him on his defensive line. Well, we'll get to Philly in a second because Philly is having their salary cap issues. We'll get to that in a minute, but maybe San Fran. I mean, I don't know what their cap situation is because they got a lot of compensatory. I think they got about 40 compensatory picks, so they got a lot of stuff to work with there. But yeah, I think any a team would be glad to get his service. I mean, he's still very productive. Like I said, he's been a Pro Bowler. He's been an All Pro. I think if you're a team, Bears or anyone else, I think you would definitely be calling him for his services.
Yeah, I agree more. And with that, Adam Thielen, I don't know if he's going to come to the Bears because let's be honest here, the Bears are not ready to win yet. Not saying they can be a surprise team next year. They can't. A whole lot's got to go right for them. But if you're Adam Thielen, I don't think he's going to come here to Chicago. I can see going to a team like Philadelphia, maybe Washington, or maybe, I don't know about San Francisco, but you're going to a team that is ready to win now, and you don't have to be the guy.
Yeah, looking at some of these teams, I mean, maybe does he stay in the division? Maybe go to Detroit, maybe to kind of be kind of that leader, maybe. Let's see. I mean, maybe the Chargers. I don't know. I'm spitballing teams here. Yeah, I mean, San Fran, like I said, I know San Fran is going to be in win now mode because they won't have a quarterback next year because both their guys are hurt. So, Purdy just had successful surgery, by the way. So, wishing him a speedy recovery. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see where he goes. Because, like I said, he wants to go to a contender. So those are those are a few contenders that I know of. I mean, that has cap space, but. All right. How about, let me see. Let's see here. What else? Sorry about that. Right. So yeah, it's gonna be very Vita Vila is clearing about they're reworking his contract for about $9 million in cap space for the Bucks. So I'm wondering that could be an interesting they definitely need to keep him there. I'm talking about the Bucks. So so let's see what else here. The Cowboys have cleared $30 million in cap space by doing the conversion of the contract for both Dak Prescott and O-lineman Zach Martin. So they're gonna have a little bit of money to play with. I'm talking about the Cowboys. So
smart. And I think they place the franchise tag on running back Tony Pollard, who's currently injured.
Yeah. So
hopefully he'll be healthy for the start of next season.
Yeah, that should help them a lot, and especially with their bottom lines. Like I said, a lot of teams are going to be moving money around and such. So let me see here. Let's see. There's a couple other NFL nuggets that I want to talk about real quick. Let me go through some of these. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the NFL and also with the cap hits and various guys coming in. DeAndre Hopkins, he's been the subject of trade rumors and such. So I know a lot of Bears fans have been wanting him to perhaps maybe come in. But if you're,
I was going to ask you that. Do you think he'll be a great fit here for Justin Fields? I think he would.
I think he would too, but they're not in win now mode. And if you're Hopkins, you're getting up there in age. I think you'll be 30, I believe, later this year. You don't want to go someplace and not be able to contend. So if you're I don't know if he'll have a say on where he'll go, but if I were him, if I were look, if you guys are going to trade me to a contender at the very least, you can get something from him. So I don't know. I mean, look, I'm sure the Bears will probably go for it, try to maybe get him, but I don't know.
I know you said Philadelphia may be in some cap issues as well.
Darius Slade wants to trade. Fletcher, look, they got a lot of unrestricted free agents. They got. I saw a list. Miles Sanders, Fletcher Cox, among others. There's about a dozen guys on that list, and I guess they had a lot of cap clearance they had to do. So now they're going to be looking for a lot of guys. I
don't see them bringing all of them back.
I think they might bring some of them back, and not all. But what do you think of that situation in Philadelphia?
Yeah, this is the world of professional sports, especially in the NFL. You cannot keep everybody happy. And Philadelphia's defense was tops in the NFL last year. We saw what happened during that Super Bowl, which they got outplayed in that second half. But That defense is still pretty good. And I know you got Reddick, one of the young linebackers there. I know we didn't hear from him in the second half of that game. You didn't hear a lot from those Eagles defenders in that second half, but their defense is still pretty good. Let's not forget, too, just like we have the situation here in Chicago with Justin Fields, they got to find money to pay Jalen Hurts. And if it wasn't for his injury last year, he would have walked away with last year's MVP.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to look out for, too, in Philadelphia. The Rams are planning to release, of course, we talked about this here the last couple of shows, outside linebacker Leonard Floyd. So he's not coming back to the Bears. So that's not happening. So, yeah, he probably could go across the hall and just go to the Chargers. I mean, I don't know if they were in a similar defense, but I think he's going to want to go someplace to get another ring. So that he tasted a couple of years ago with the Rams. So I would probably want to go there if you want. So,
And they're trying to look for, I don't know if they're going to get it, but they're trying to look for a first-round pick at best for Jalen Ramsey. I'm talking about the Rams.
I don't know if they're going to get that, but...
I don't know either, because he's getting up there in age. He's still an effective player, but he's not like he once was a few years ago in Jacksonville.
Right. And Mike Garafolo just tweeted that the Dolphins have informed Tua that they are picking up his fifth-year option. He'll be guaranteed a little over $23 million for the 2024 season. So they're confident that they give Tua a chance to win, even though he had various concussions and injuries over the last year. I'm a little worried about that, but I don't know. We'll see. My buddy Mark Gomes, who works out in Los Angeles, he's a big KC. Going back to Leonard Floyd, he's a big KC fan, and he said that maybe perhaps him going to Kansas City. I'm talking about Leonard Floyd. I don't know if he wants to go in the cold anymore. I don't think.
Nah.
So what do you think about Tua? Real quick before we go to break.
Like I said, his health is the most important thing right now. I think that was a smart move for the Dolphins to pick up his fifth-year option, but after that, you want to see how healthy he stays in for next year, because Miami's still in playoff mode. And let's be honest here. No shade to Skylar Thompson, who didn't have the best performance in a playoff game last year. If Tua was healthy and played in that playoff game last year, they would have beaten Buffalo. So the question is now, can Tua stay healthy? Because you saw what they did. They had that hot start to the season last year when he was healthy. When he was out of there, they barely struggled limping into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's going to be the key, and then health's going to be a big, key for him, going down the line. So hopefully he'll be, ready to go by next season. At least by the time training camp starts, at the very least. So we're taking a really quick break. Our girl Christy Manika from KXRB, she's playing a little hurt today, but we're glad she's with us. We'll have her, cuddle. She's on deck. Also, too, we forgot to talk about this earlier when we were talking about college hoops, but a longtime head coach is retiring. It has retired.
And the White Sox, and this is definitely for Christine, the White Sox announced some new promotions coming up for this upcoming 2023 season. We'll get her reactions as well. And Diamond Sports was late on making payments to a certain MLB team, as they'll head to bankruptcy court next week. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. You're listening to the Friday Fun edition of Second City Sports. I'm Sid. That's Sakina. Christine is up next, right here, live in living color on Sports Zone Chicago.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, But one of these days, a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Sean and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to our last segment of today and the last segment of the week as you listen to the Friday Fun edition of Second City Sports. We're live in living color right here on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm Sid. That's Lakina. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, that's SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan again the IG.
And a daily reminder, you can also catch Sports Zone Chicago now live on Roku TV, live and on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And if you want to hit us up in our comment section, this is your last chance, fourth quarter style. Go to Sports Zone Chicago's Facebook page or Sports Zone Chicago on YouTube. Type in your questions and comments in the comment section. Lakina will get them up on the screen for you.
All right, Sid, our girl's here. Like I said, she's a little bit under the weather, but, we're glad she's here with us this week. Of course, from KXRB, she's our girl, Christine, the Queen Manika. What's up, Christine?
Oh, boy.
My 10-minute air horn.
10-minute air horn. That's going to make my headache worse.
Sorry.
Well, no loud noises. We promise. No more loud noises, Christine. We promise. So
I swear I'm not hungover.
Yeah, no. We believe you. We believe you. So, other than that, how are you feeling? Other than that,
great. It's been a good couple of weeks. We didn't get any snow last night, so that's a good thing. Tomorrow, I don't know, but at least today we didn't get any, so it's great.
Yeah, we didn't get any here on the south side either, so.
No, we did not. So, yeah. So, most of the store was up north, so they were actually right this time.
Right.
So they should be feeling pretty good. Now, where do you want to go first with Christine here, Sid? I know we got a lot to get to her within the
I want to get to her thoughts about Aaron Rodgers and possibly joining the New York Jets via trade. We were talking about earlier, Christine. Listening to New York sports radio over the last few days, a few Jets fans, of course, you're going to have your few, I don't want Aaron Rodgers because he's condescending. I don't like his personality, blah, blah, blah. But many Jets fans are excited. We talked about it last year, Christine. Zach Wilson lost the locker room. The Jets, after beating that sorry-ass Bears team last year, they were 7-4. Of course, they faded down the stretch. What are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers possibly joining the New York Jets?
Bye,
it looks like it's
Felicia.
Jets or retirement.
That's what I'd say. Bye, Felicia. Seriously, like, stop causing the drama. Stop making it a big media circus. If you want to leave, just get out and go to a different team. Start somewhere new and fresh. I know that Zach Wilson lost the locker room, but hey, he gave every one of his own linemen some mopeds for Christmas. So even though he lost them in the locker room, he still treated them right outside of the field. So you got to give him a little bit of credit for that. But yeah, seriously, it's all a media circus, I think, at this point. Just whenever he wants to announce when he's going, let him do it. You know, enough of this. I'm going to be in 4 days of darkness in order to make my decision. You already knew what your decision was going to be, even before the season was over. Right when you got off that Bears field, you knew that this was probably going to be it for you in a Packers jersey.
It's a little bit nutty here how all that transpires. You see Sauce Gardner burning cheese head. Again, do not try that at home, folks. Of course, all the other some of the other desperately talking like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, they've been kind of lobbying for the Aaron Rodgers to come in. But I think has he forgotten that that the New York media is very merciless. So especially
it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, if they have a bad start, especially, they're gonna let him have it. And I don't know if he may not be ready for that.
Hey, he was engaged to Shailene Woodley, and that was kind of a turbulent relationship. So I think he can handle it. And he puts it on himself anyway.
Okay, yeah, enough with the Aaron Rodgers foolishness. Let's go to the Lamar Jackson. What do you think about? We talked about it a few minutes ago. Of course, he wants more money. He's his own agent. The Ravens put the non-exclusive tag on him. Where do you see that situation going?
I know that a lot of people are saying that it's probably better if he does have an agent. But if you look at his teammate, Roquan Smith, doesn't have an agent, is now one of the highest paid linebackers, not just for the Ravens, but in the NFL. So that just goes to show you necessarily don't need an agent if you already know what you're worth. It's interesting that they franchise tagged him. I can see why he would be upset about it, but if you know what you're worth, you're going to fight for it. And that fight's going to show whether it's in front of the Ravens or if it's with another team.
Yeah, you would think, Christine, me and Lakina discussed this the last segment, that even though Lamar Jackson is looking for a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson has with Cleveland, we won't get into that. That's a whole nother subject. But do you want to be the first owner, an NFL owner, to give a player like Lamar Jackson a fully guaranteed deal? Because some people are accusing of being collusion. I see where some folks are coming from with that, but I completely don't buy that. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you've seen organizations take risk on that before, whether a team is interested in him. Because, Lamar, he's kind of past his time. I don't want to say he's totally past his prime, but he's past the point where we used to see him be really, really good. And he could still be that great quarterback. But I think it could be too little, too late to teach a veteran new tricks, so to speak. He has his form. He has his way of doing things, and that's how it's going to go. So if they want to take a risk on him, sure. Crazier things have happened in the NFL. But I would think now that Derek Carr is for sure going to the Saints, I would think that they would try to keep him on Baltimore, since there really aren't any options out there at the moment.
Yeah, I think I think they'll figure it out too. I think that there's too much going on there. With the agent thing, I think Rowan didn't have a lot of family members in his ear. He just knew what he was worth. I think Lamar's case, I think he's got too many people in his family are kind of like in his ear. So I think that's probably what makes the case a little bit different now. Just saw across the wires that the Vikings are again dumping a lot of salary. They're waiving veteran corner Cameron Dantzler. So they've Darius Smith is gone. Adam Thielen is gone. Now see with the latter two. I mean, would you want either one of those two with the Bears?
Thielen, absolutely. I think Thielen would be great, at least to get this offensive line going. I know he's been in the NFL 10 plus years, whatever, but he's a veteran. He's not just a great veteran on the field, but I've heard that he's a great guy in the locker room, and he's just a great guy in general. So I know that he doesn't have that. He's 32. I know he doesn't have that much time left, but I think a 2-year contract, 3-year contract max would be beneficial for the Bears, at least. If Fields is talking about getting some weapons to throw to, I think he would be the perfect guy.
Not a bad take. Not a bad take at all. You're listening to Second City Sports Friday, fun Friday edition, right here on Sports Zone Chicago. Sid looking here with you. Christine, the Queen Manika from KXRB in Sioux Falls is hanging out with us. Let's switch over to baseball. Christine, will focusing on off the field. The White Sox earlier this week announced some new promotional dates for this upcoming 2023 season. Would you like to hear some of those?
Sure.
Good. I was going to give it to you anyway. You said no.
Yeah, save us some time by saying yes. Yeah.
All right. Here's the first of the new giveaway days for this upcoming season. Sunday, May 14th, against the Houston Astros, the Jose Abreu Houston Astros, and also his family Sunday that day. The first 20,000 fans will receive a White Sox belt bag presented by Rush.
You mean a fanny pack?
Yes.
That's basically
Why are they calling it a belt bag?
Oh, that's what they said. That's why I'm reading off this sheet here.
That's basically what it's basically a fanny pack. It's a fanny pack. That's basically what that is. It's a fanny pack.
Saturday, May 20th, against the Kansas City Royals, a White Sox track jacket presented by Xfinity. First 20,000 fans.
Now we're talking.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and we're talking some more here. Saturday, July 29th versus the Cleveland Guardians. First 20,000 fans will receive a White Sox cap presented by CIBC, and it's a black cap with a red bill, and it's a red background with a White Sox.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Go to whitesox.com. You'll see the image.
I'd rather have an all black hat.
Yeah, the color combination is a little bit strange, though, I think.
All right, and I definitely have tickets to this game, being a season ticket holder. Saturday, August 26th, against the Oakland Athletics, a Saturday night contest. A Dylan Cease bobblehead presented by Benny's Beverage Depot. The first 15,000 fans, 21 and over, will receive a Dylan Cease bobblehead.
There we go, with the stash and everything.
Yes, and they're having him wearing his 1983 Sunday White Sox jerseys, the ones that wear on Sunday home games. And presented by Modelo on Saturday, September 30th. That's the last weekend of the regular season against the Padres. First 10,000 fans, 21 and up, receive a La Katrina bobblehead, wherever the hell that is.
That's interesting. Okay, that's
a
little interesting.
That is.
But wait, there's more. Theme nights have been added this year to the White Sox game day experience. Christine, you're definitely going to love this.
Oh, boy.
June 9th, Country Music Night.
Hey!
I didn't do it that loud this time, Christine.
Yeah.
June 21st, Pride Night. June 23rd, with NASCAR being here in Chicago this summer. Oh, the downtown street is going to tear up literally. June 23rd is NASCAR night.
Wait, are you telling me that they're going to have NASCARs running around the streets of Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a street race. Yeah, it's going to be a street race that weekend. Yep.
Oh, you're kidding.
Nope.
No, ma'am.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's going to be like a movie right there.
I can only imagine what the traffic's going to be like for that weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
So
it's like, don't even bother. Take the train. Do something else.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
August
11th, against the Milwaukee Brewers. Christine will like this one. It will be Elvis night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I went to Elvis night last year, I remember.
I believe you did. Yes, I think you did.
I did. I went to Elvis night last year.
September 1st, Rock and Roll night.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I like that.
In additional dates, May 2nd, Dog Day at the Park. So that's being brought back for the first time in a
Yeah,
so that's first time in several seasons they brought that dog. I think they said in the bleachers. I think they'll still do the same thing this year. So May 2nd, Dog Day at the ballpark, and June 4th, Yoga at the Park.
Yoga at the park.
Yoga. Oh god.
Yes. Yoga. Yes.
Namaste.
Yep. So there's your new promotional dates and giveaways for the White Sox for this upcoming 2023 season.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I think it was Elvis Night 2 years ago. Not last year, but 2 years ago.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. That's okay. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that should be a fun night regardless.
Yeah.
Yoga night. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. So
Yoga, come on, Lakina.
No, I do yoga. It's just it's just gonna be interesting where the White Sox are gonna be by then. Like, we're gonna have a lot of doing a lot of.
Let's see, when is yoga night? Let me look that up again. Yoga night is yoga night. Yeah, that's June 4th, so it's still kind of early.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of
won't be
game
so
left.
bad. Yeah, well, they'll probably, maybe hopefully they won't be having a bad start.
Maybe softball can get in the field too and get in on yoga.
Oh yeah, I can see Southpaw doing those poses, like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So as we usually say, make your plan accordingly. And the White Sox will be home on Memorial Day this year against the Anaheim Angels. Christine's soon to be husband's team, and of course they'll be at home again this year on July 4th as they'll take on the Toronto Blue Jays.
That sounds good. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, let's keep it with the baseball on the field. All the rule changes now. Of course, Christy, we get a chance to ask you about that. Of course, we've seen some of the various.
The pitch time is stupid. That's what I think.
I was going to ask. Like, do you like the rules? Were there some rules that you don't like? I know. Well, the pitch clock. Okay, go on.
I mean, I get it. People want to speed up the game and get with Gen Z and whatever else because they can hardly pay attention. But it's America's pastime. It's not America's let's speed this game up already time. No, it's America's pastime. And plus, I think you're going to actually injure the pitchers more than by doing that just because there is a pitch clock. It's a faster paced game, right? And if they don't have enough time to recover, well, then they're going to blow their arm off or something like that. So I don't know. I don't think that rule was necessary, but like I said, I get it. They want to keep up with the younger generation, but I don't necessarily agree with that.
You can tell she's moving to our generation, Lakina. Just see them young kids.
Listen, I'm a millennial, so I was never in that Gen Z, whatever it is.
Right,
we love it.
She's on our side, said with the millennial. Yeah, she is younger than us. Yeah, she's more on our side.
Yeah.
I want to ask Christine about another rule change about per batter you only can throw the first base pickoff attempts twice, and of course the bases are bigger this year. Do you think you will see an increase in offense, particularly in the stolen base department?
I think that was actually a good move because sometimes the pitcher, if he throws the ball to first base, that's annoying. Like at a certain point, if some guy does it 3 times in a row, 4 times, then it's like, oh my gosh, just get on with the game. So I get the rule change. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I agree with you. That one now. Interesting, our Chuck Garfien, of course, NBC Sports Chicago covers the Sox, a big Sox fan, just tweeted that the average spring training game last year was a little over 3 hours for the White Sox. This year already it's been a little over 2.5 hours. So, whether you like the rules, the games have been quicker. So, for what it's worth. But what about the World Baseball Classic? Are you going to tune in for that, Christine?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, she's being nice and diplomatic about, unlike yours truly. I think it's a big, even though it's sponsored by MLB, it's a big waste of time. I know that the White Sox have a few players in there: Lance Lynn, Tim Anderson, Johan Mikhail, and Luis Robert Jr., who likes to be known as this season.
Yes.
I think it'll help them. Hopefully they don't get hurt, first of all. And number 2, I think it'll help them as far as carrying momentum into the start of the season, because let's be honest here, the White Sox need to get off to a good start to please this fan base.
Something.
Yeah,
they do. Especially if they have a bad start. I mean, that's the one thing I'm worried about with the White Sox. They gotta have a good start early on, because if not, I mean, you're gonna be. I know Pedro Grifol, you got a first-year manager, but this is a team that's still intact for the most part. So I'm a little concerned about the White Sox this year, especially after Cease's outing, a couple of days ago. I know it's spring training, but you give up, 8 runs in like less than an inning. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, the man is human. I think he's just getting out of the system. This is spring training.
Right.
As this is Second City Sports on Chicago, Lakina McGee, Cindy Brown, our girl KXRB's Christine Manika joining us for her bi-weekly Friday visit. Now, we did get a chance to talk about this earlier, Sid, but going back to college hoops, but Jim Boeheim, the longtime head coach from Syracuse, has retired. I'm doing the air quotes here. I think he was forced out because of some stuff especially after what happened with after that Wake Forest game where they lost in the opening round of the ACC tournament. Now, 47 seasons as a coach, all at Syracuse, 5 Final Four appearances, 1 national title. Of course, I was with Carmelo when he was a freshman. The second most wins by a head coach in D1 history, and of course, 05 Naismith Hall of Fame inductee. Now, Adrian Autry, that's like when I heard the name, I'm like, oh wow, that's a name I haven't heard in years. Not the Northwestern running back, Adrian Autry.
That's Darnell Autry.
That's Darnell Autry, but there actually was Adrian Autry also on that team as well. But they just had the presser earlier this morning. I know he had been there. I'm talking about Adrian Autry has been there since 2011, since coming back. He'd been an assistant for a while, so this was always a plan, I guess. But you can kind of say that probably could have retired after he coached his sons a couple of years ago, but he wanted. We talked about it when Jay Wright retired last year. Said that look, they're gonna have to make me leave, and I guess that's what they're doing. They made him leave. I'm talking about Coach Boeheim.
Yeah, he coached some very good players throughout his team. I didn't think he was there for that long, but I knew he'd been there a long time. But not 47 years. Remember the now late great Pearl Washington, of course, Billy Owens, of course, Ronnie Cycli, Derek Coleman, of course, you mentioned Carmelo Anthony, Jerry McNamara. I know he didn't turn out to be anything in the league, but that's another issue. But he has some very good players throughout his coaching career. I believe he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Good. So his place is there forever, end up there, Springfield, Massachusetts. So he had a very good, great career, coaching career. And as we talked about before, we mentioned like the names of Jay Wright, who's now analyst for CBS, and Coach K and Roy Williams. Both of those guys retired last year as well. The landscape of college sports, in particular college basketball, is changing with the new NIL rules and things along that line. Recruiting has changed for the better and for good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bob Huggins is like among that group that's still there, and Huggins said, "Don't ask me about retirement. Don't ask me." he's coaching also.
Give me my paycheck.
I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. So, what do you think about this news, Christine?
I know you think that maybe he was forced out, and that could be it. But then again, there's always a time where you got to let new blood get their feet wet, and there was always a need for young coaches to get their one shot, and this could be it for someone at Syracuse. So I don't think he was necessarily pushed out, but maybe he thought that there was some potential within his own coaching staff to move up to that next level.
Well, yeah, if you saw his presser earlier, he said he had nothing but great things to say about Adrian Autry. He was a leader among the early 90s, for the Syracuse team. So I think they went to the Big East championship, if I'm not mistaken, during that time he was there. So, we'll see what he does. Hopefully they'll give him some time. I know he's still a beloved figure there, so I'm sure they'll give him some time and get his put his in on it. Now, Patrick Ewing, unfortunately, has been fired, after their loss early on the Big East tournament at Georgetown. Yeah, after winning that Big East tournament, coming out of nowhere after a couple of years, a lot of those guys unfortunately left for various reasons. So that's why he wasn't able to build on that. I've heard Rick Pitino's name has been floated around, perhaps as going back to the Big East.
I thought my eyes were deceiving there. I read it on the bottom line a couple hours ago.
Yeah, that was that. Yep, that was a rumor that's been. I know I have a friend who. I have a friend who lives out in, who's from here and who lives out in D.C. He's been living out there for 30 years. He knows a basketball landscape out there. He said that's been the rumor that a lot of people want Coach Pitino, Rick Pitino, back in the Big East, coaching Georgetown. So who knows if that's going to end up being the case.
Yeah, remember when he thought the NBA was the NFL had the worst record, so you can draft the best player that year. Tim Duncan came out That was over 20-something years, almost 35 years ago. I know he had success with the Knicks back in the day, the first time in the 80s, but don't let him coach the NBA again. I'm just saying, and don't give him that much power. But he's one of the best college coaches of his, of his generation. We saw what he did at Providence, Kentucky. And if he gets that Georgetown job, it's going to be a whole lot more pressure on him than it was on you, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just see where that goes. So, what do you look at? Are you looking forward to the March Madness coming up, Christine, or is there like any teams?
Absolutely.
Is there any teams that that you're having your eye on?
Well, for the women, you have the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. They got their bid on Tuesday, was it? They punched their ticket. And then North Dakota State, Oral Roberts. They punched their ticket on Tuesday evening too. So those are going to be some good teams from the Summit League. I know for Oral Roberts on the men's side, they were undefeated in the league this whole season. And the coach had some choice words to say about South Dakota, but he paid for it after what he said. Let's just say he wasn't too thrilled of the fact the Summit League tournament being in South Dakota always, and not, know, at their home stadium. So he paid for it with the reporters here eventually.
I heard about that. I can only imagine the reporters that kind of gave him the what for, because they've been doing that for like the last 10 or 15 years. It's been
it's been there and that's because there's just no other facility like the Denny Sanford Premier Center in the Summit League. So it's a great stadium. And no other site. I guess the next one would be Omaha, but who wants to go to Omaha or Nebraska? I'm kidding. I'm going to get the heat. But the Oral Roberts coach, he came out of Baylor, so he's been with Oral Roberts, I think, since 2017. So he's used to the big Baylor stadium, and just all the fans traveling wherever they go. So I can see why he could be a little bit frustrated. And I think when the reporters brought it up to him, he mentioned I don't know what the big deal is. I didn't say anything negative or anything like that. But no, he implied it. So, I mean, what are you going to do, right?
Well, I mean, Paul Mills that was one of Scott Strew's right-hand guys over at Baylor for years. I mean, but we'll see. But like I said, look, Oral Roberts can make some noise in the tournament if they get the right matchup. So for anything. Go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask Christine, what about on the men's side? What teams are you watching out? Any of our local teams, Illinois, Northwestern, or another team nationally like Kansas? Which teams are you watching out for as the Big Dance starts next week?
Oh, always, for Illinois, because, that's where my sister is graduating in May. So, of course, I got to cheer for Illinois. I got to cheer for Northwestern, too. And I think this is going to be a fun tournament. There's been a lot of upsets within the college basketball season this year. Purdue, for one, they were ranked number 1, and now all of a sudden they're down to 7 or 8, something like that. So it just goes to show you that anything can happen.
Well, it's interesting because, like we've been saying, you could put 10 or 15 teams in a hat. It can mix it up and take out one team and say, okay, that you could make a case for a team to win all. So I don't think there really is a favorite this year. I just don't think there is.
There is a favorite in my book, and that's Sister Jean. Gosh, love Sister Jean.
I know. This year. I know.
She is just so cute.
Love her, Coach Valentine. Y'all get together for next season so we can get her back.
I know she's gonna be 104 by that time.
I know.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart, though. Still with us as well now. So let's go real quick with the Diamond Sports. You can pay off that tease about one pro sports team is not getting their payments.
Yeah, we know that the Bally Sports Regional Sports Networks, they were purchased by the Diamond Sports Group, who owns them from Fox Sports back in 2018. Of course, they're going to head into Chapter 11 bankruptcy court, protective bankruptcy court next week. In the grace period for those teams that are under the Bally Sports realm, should be receiving their payments by this time next week. But the Arizona Diamondbacks have not received not one payment yet. And that's not good.
Oh, dear.
That's not good.
Oh, boy. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks are the only team so far that have not received a payment.
I mean, gosh, you feel for that organization, but then again, you feel bad for the employees with Bally Sports. It's like, what are they going to do now?
Yeah, that's going to be like the number one question once they go to the bankruptcy court. That's going to be something that they're going to have to figure out. So we heard about maybe ESPN maybe want to come in and say, hey, look, you want to stream your games with us? We'll give you the resources to do that. So something to figure out. But yeah, I mean, I think Diamond Sports. I mean, they've been around a long time. So
yeah, and just point out another highlight from this article from courtesy of a good friend and awful announcing. The San Diego Padres, one of those teams that was spending money big time this offseason. They are reportedly getting paid $60 million from Bally Sports, of course, Bally Sports San Diego, $60 million a year through 2032.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how are they going to be able to, especially if there's no money there for them to pay these folks. Talk about the players and the people in front of them behind the scenes. So
because that's how most of the salary caps are for these teams are set. Not just the contracts for the national TV networks, but your local TV rights as well. So the national, we saw in 2020 with all the 4 major sports with no fans in the stands. The players got paid through advertisement in the national TV contracts, but your local TV contracts was really sets the market, and those teams don't get their payments. Like I said, it's not just the employees, but the players at first. That's how they get paid, and the TV networks they're not shelling out their bread. There's a problem. Of course, the model is changing how these games are being viewed anyway, because cord cut has been for almost a decade, Lakina, just about.
Yep, just about.
So everybody's starting to stream legally and illegally. I don't go into the illegal part of it, but people are starting to stream their games right now. So as we said, look, all the time, Lakina, people want and need options, and the way the business model is changing, I don't think Bally Sports saw that coming. They overpaid for those RSNs from Fox Sports, and now look where they at.
Now they're paying for it, so
literally,
both figuratively and literally. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. And this come across the wires too. Devin McCourty, the veteran secondary player for the Patriots, won 3 Super Bowls with them, has announced his retirement. So we know his twin brother Jason is working with NFL Network and Good Morning Football. So we'll see if he follows his twin brother to the media. So
twin power.
We might see that. Look, we might see that. That'd be a nice little niche for the NFL Network. Devin and Jason working together. That'd be pretty cool.
Speaking of NFL Network, it looks like they'll be cutting back on some talent as well. I saw that story the other day. So we'll see what happens with that, because the whole model of sports media is changing, as we talked about with linear cable TV. People are cutting the cord. You still have a lot of people with cable, but it's not as much as you say about 10, 15 years ago. So the model, how we view our programming, especially with sports, is changing.
Of course, you got Hulu TV with live sports. You got YouTube TV, Fubo TV.
Yeah, new home for the NFL next season.
Yeah, they'll be especially
Sunday ticket.
Yep. So that's going to be like that might be a thing to look out for as well. So the whole process is just changing. We're going to 2023. The cord cutting, I think that's going to be really interesting. But then with the rising costs, going up to among the streaming services, people are wondering that, would they have been better off just keeping cable? So
we said that too a few months ago.
Yeah, it's all a little bit nutty here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So that's going to be interesting.
All right. Anything else before we disperse for the weekend, Christine?
I don't think so. Go watch some basketball, enjoy some spring training, watch some golf too. The Masters are coming up next month. So, I
was just going to say with the golf, you got the Players Championship going on at TPC Sawgrass. Tiger's not there, unfortunately. He's got his own legal issues again.
I was going to say, sounds like he's got some ex-female issues going right now.
We'll leave it there. Like I said, he should. Like I was telling my mom this yesterday, he should probably just stay single. Just stay single until Charlie goes to college. And Colin Morikawa, 2 shots back of Chad Ramey, who's the leader. Justin Rose is near there. He's at the top 12. There's not going to be a cut line here, I don't think, with the way it's set up this year.
Victor Hovland, he's been really playing well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he has. I think he's right up there too. I think he's near near the top 15. So yeah, a lot. We'll see Mario Kyle. This will be another big tournament win for him. Unfortunately, John Rahm has had to pull out due to stomach bugs, but he had been struggling in the first round. So I'm sure he had to. Hopefully he'll feel better, and he'll be back just in time for the Masters coming up in a few weeks. So we're seeing those promos already, folks. I mean, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little.
And Full Swing 2 is going to be on Netflix. They're doing a second season of it.
Yeah, that's been like the thing. I forgot who they're going to be on for the second season, but yeah, they've got Morikawa among a few others, for that. So I think that's been helping golf, keep it up with, especially with the live golf now on the CW. So I think this has been the kind of the way to for them to stay ahead of the game. So good for the PGA for letting cameras get more access to the top players. So I think that can only help them.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched it yet, it's really good. Like I'm only about a couple episodes in because I use that for my running videos. But it's so good. I mean, and some of the stuff that they're saying, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can kind of relate to that on a different level with Chris, saying like you live paycheck to paycheck, and it literally depends on how well you played. That's exactly it.
Well, thankfully there's more money available now, so that that they don't have to worry about that. I know Chris. I'm sure Chris has been benefiting from that as well, so that should help a lot. Especially y'all got a wedding to pay for.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh yeah, so that helps too. Hopefully, he can qualify for the U.S. Open too this year, and hopefully we'll be cheering hard for him.
Yes.
With that said, you can follow me at Keena McGee on the Twitter and at Keena McGee on the IG.
You can follow yours truly, Sydney Brown, on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, at CK80, SIDKID80, SIDKID80. Christine, where can the lovely people follow you on social media?
They can follow me at @CManika_KXRB.
We want to thank, of course, Christine for making her bi-weekly visit for this time of year with us and fighting through her headaches. So I'm glad that, thank thank you for joining us for that. Yeah. Of course, don't forget this Sunday at 6:00 after the brackets are released, we're going to be doing our March Madness brackets special here on Sports Zone Chicago. Here on Facebook. Not too loud, Sid. But yeah, our buddy Mike Chin, will be joining us too. We're going to have all the breakdowns of upsets, potential upsets, sleepers, all that stuff too. So make sure you guys tune in this Sunday coming up at 6:00 Central Time right here on Sports Zone Chicago on Facebook and YouTube.
Yep, and after you tune in this Sunday, don't forget Second City Sports always airs live and in living color every Monday, every Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, exclusively right here on Sports Zone Chicago. One more again, as Christine and the kids would say. Check out Second City Sports live and in living color every Monday, every Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on Sports Zone Chicago.
And anytime, anywhere, you can join us on Roku TV. Of course, I see they got some new Roku TVs coming out. So, of course, if you're going to buy those Roku TVs, or if you got a Roku TV app, whatever device you got, just search our station Sports Zone Chicago right there, the little search engine bar on where you get your apps. You have catch our show, Sean and Maya, the Smoke Fellas. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. With the NFL, with both the NFL and the NBA, and also too March Madness coming up as well. So check out those shows at any time, anywhere you want. So enjoy all the sports. It's gonna be a busy sports weekend, coming up this weekend with, of course, with all the conference tournaments, as you guys said, the NBA, spring training, more NFL news. I'm sure the TPC, Players Championship. So we're gonna have all covered right there for you guys to enjoy. So for Sid and Christine, I'm the Kansas City Second City Sports on Sports Zone Chicago, and we'll see you Friday. Oh, and shout out to Patrick Kane for getting his first goal with the Rangers. So
I'm sad, but yay!
Yeah, I know, right? On that note, of course, we'll see you guys next week. Also, Jordan Borfield from WGN and ESPN will be joining us too at 1:00. So
that's Monday show.
More. Yep. So on Monday. So make sure you guys check that out as well.
Yep. So see you Sunday for our March Madness Selection Sunday special. Till then, holla!